this baby.
From the bumps to the babies, in the training rooms and on the road.
It is a job, but it's also just a way of life.
And from the good times to near tragedy.
So I knew she wasn't okay, knowing that I knew babies over there looking dead.
Bringing new lives to East London.
When that cry comes, you're like, yes. And if it doesn't, you're like, please, please cry for me, please cry for me.
Following in the footsteps of their fictional counterparts, we're with the real midwives of Poplar.
Good afternoon, ladies. Welcome to Nanata's house.
Call The Midwife is centred around the fictional Nanata's house in Poplar, home to nuns and midwives, but it's based on a building that still stands today.
So the signs are still here of what happened back in the 1880s when the Sisters of St John the Divine were invited from Euston in central London out here to Poplar in East London, to Lodore Street, where they carried on their work. Here, at St Francois Mission House.
Every year in this part of London, around 11,000 babies are born, most in hospital, but plenty at home, with the help of a team of community midwives. Just like in Call The Midwife, the community team these days deliver their care in a variety of settings.
Have you got any question?
No, thank you.
Yeah, you sure?
There are checks in antenatal clinics in the run-up to babies being born. And checks in clinics in the days and weeks once the newborns have arrived.
Hi!
And plenty of home visits to see that all is going well. And these days, the job comes with a whole bag full of kit.
So these are the bags that we take to women in labour.
Hannah Shukla has been a midwife for 6 years, the last 3 working in East London on the home birth team.
The front pocket has got everything if a baby's coming super quickly. So literally like gloves, things to like protect the carpets. So we've got our neonatal resuscitation bag, so this is the one that we're going to get out at each birth, and we've kind of got all of the bits that we would need to provide breathing support for the baby until our ambulance crew got there.
And while in the summer she'll get out and about on her bike, in the colder months it's more about getting behind the wheel.
So we're off to do our kind of routine visits this morning. Showing off for the camera. Look at you looking around. Okay. Coming up. Oh, we're having a problem.
Yeah, she eats quite regularly during the day.
Yeah.
Cluster feed in the evening.
Okay.
And then sleeps like 3 hours.
Great.
She doesn't like the nappy change too much sometimes,
Still.
time, but
Okay.
That's the only time she really screams.
Yeah.
I feel good. I sleep a lot, which was unexpected. So, yeah, no, I'm feeling really good. I mean, there's a little cry sometimes, like more being overwhelmed with emotions. But yeah, no, really well. In love with the little baby.
Whatever you prefer.
And all seems to be going well with her.
Touch wood.
She's growing,
We're still waiting for the crazy night that we have been promised. That hasn't come yet, so.
It's been a good visit, and as things are going so well, Hannah discharges Maëlle.
So much. Thank you.
Great.
Yes. Well,
Thank you so much.
for us.
At all. Bye, miss.
How's that then, Hannah, when you have to sign someone off? You got a bit of mosh there, didn't you?
Oh yeah, it's always really hard saying goodbye to families that we've cared for throughout their pregnancy, if we've been at the birth as well, and kind of seeing them go from being a couple to being a family is, yeah, it's lovely to watch, but it's always really hard to say goodbye. I'm very fortunate that I live in the borough and I see so many of my families out and about, living their lives, and yeah, particularly the big park here, like we see a lot of them.
So why are you fighting?
When they're not on the road, much of the work of the midwives is done in clinics in local health centres. Irene has worked in this area for nearly 20 years. Ask her how many babies she's delivered. She's kind of lost count.
My God, thousands and thousands. A lot of babies. Yeah, I can't, like I said, when you just qualified, you reach up to 1,000 and then you you stop counting, but thousands and thousands. And I feel proud and I feel good that I've managed to do that, because I think the way you feel about it is that the joy it brings you, the joy it brings the parents, and you're thinking, I was part of that. I was part of that.
Today she's seeing 13-day-old Soraya with her parents Nahida and Shahabuddin.
So at any time you feel mentally you are not okay, you can contact your GP, yeah?
As Irene is about to discharge the family, it's important that they understand all that needs to be done. So she calls on the help of a Bengali interpreter on the phone to make sure everything is communicated properly.
So is there anything she's worried about baby, or has she got any questions regarding baby?
আপনার কি বাচ্চা সম্পর্কিত আর কোনো প্রশ্ন আছে বা আপনার কি কোনো চিন্তা আছে বাচ্চাকে নিয়ে?
It's an important tool for the midwives working in one of London's most diverse areas. It brings its own challenges, but the thrill of the job, says Irene, remains the same.
I think that's the best thing, when you see the joy on their faces and you are part of that. It's beautiful. I think there's no job better than midwifery. I don't think there's a job that gives you that.
Does that still stay the same every time you deliver a baby?
Yeah. It never changes. It's like it's the first time you've done it, but you've done it for years and years.
And we're going to go the other way. Okay, you want to keep the back up a moment.
Delivering babies in East London these days isn't just the job of the midwives here.
So today we're going to do a tutorial on breech birth.
We're in the training room at Homerton Ambulance Station with a team of paramedics and 2 midwives.
That's a foot. Yeah, everyone normally laughs at this. If you're not sure what that is, that's a foot. If this foot was what you saw when you got to this woman, what would you be thinking?
Straight to hospital.
Great. Yeah.
The London Ambulance Service is one of the few in the country to have a dedicated maternity team, training staff on the road what to do when they turn up to a woman in labour.
So you're just levering, keeping the baby in the straight line, like that.
After a talk through breech births, it's down to the training drill, and it's pretty realistic.
I feel like I need to push.
Paramedic Lauren is first through the door, talking to the pretend mum-to-be.
I'm just going to be here down with baby with my hands in between your legs, okay?
Then help arrives with 2 more ambulance crews on the scene.
Guys, just to let you know I can see legs. Well done. Well done.
Have we got the arms or the elbows?
Continuous pushing. Setting up the kit dump. Well done. Baby's out. Baby's out. Well done, baby.
The baby is successfully delivered, not a first for most in the room.
Lovely. We got another dry towel.
How many of you actually had to deliver babies? Between them, this lot have delivered 109 babies during their careers.
Okay. I haven't done it yet.
For me personally, I find it the most rewarding job that we attend. I've always kind of think. I can remember the first baby I delivered, and I remember high-fiving Dad afterwards, being like,
I think it's like a bit control chaos. I think we come in knowing what we have to do, so then we can kind of control the scene in that way, but sometimes there are just things you can't prepare for, so you just have to do your best.
In fact, across London each year, the ambulance service delivers around 800 babies. Babies like Lydia, whose arrival was a somewhat dramatic affair.
Emergency ambulance, is the patient breathing?
Yeah, my patient's breathing, they're pregnant, they're in labour.
This was the moment her dad Michael dialed 999.
We are coming on blue light and signs. Again, just keep on reassuring her that help is on the way. Have your knees close to your chest and just keep on pushing as hard as you can, okay? And what you can do is, if you can, leave the phone next to her so that while you go and open the door, okay?
The call sent emergency medical technician Corey en route to St Paul's Church in Shadwell.
So I can remember
We were on shift, and I can remember driving when we got the call. And with the first contraction after we were there, we saw that baby Lydia had the umbilical cord wrapped around her neck, and that's why she wasn't progressing, or that's why the birth wasn't progressing. A moment of panic, you know, you know what to do in that situation, but when you come across it, you still think like, oh my word, this is really serious. You know, we're gonna have to do something quick, or we might not have a happy ending to this story, unfortunately. Hello, nice to see you. Good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, good.
Hi.
Lydia was the third baby he delivered, and today he's back to see her and her mum Abby, who's training to be the vicar here.
There we go. That's better, isn't it?
While it's all smiles today, it was a very different story a year ago, a morning that Abby and her husband Michael will never forget.
You talking about how Lydia wasn't breathing and you had to stimulate her to get her to take that first breath, and how the rest of the team were dealing with me because I was hemorrhaging quite badly and I was bleeding out a lot, and so the rest of the team having to work on me, and just thinking, oh gosh, Michael had to sit and watch all that happen.
I saw that she wasn't okay. I'll be honest, the first thing that I noticed was that when Lydia came out, she was blue. She wasn't like in all the movies or the TV shows, baby comes out screaming. That's the few images that you know if you've not watched One Born Every Minute or whatever else. And that didn't happen. And they always like give the baby straight to mum, and in all the like the antenatal stuff, they tell you that's what they're gonna do. And I knew we weren't in hospital. I knew stuff hadn't gone the way it was meant to go, so I didn't expect stuff to go normally. But they like took Lydia straight off to one side, got me to chuck all the stuff on the floor off the dresser so that they could like do work on her. So I knew she wasn't okay. And I'm just stuck like next to Abby, knowing that our new baby's over there looking dead.
Like you were saying, like, you know what's supposed to happen, but as soon as Lydia was born, because of the complications with Lydia and Abby, we had to separate them. So, I can't imagine how scary that would have been for you, knowing that you couldn't hold your child.
Yeah, I didn't meet her for hours.
I was fairly sure Lydia wasn't alive. I was fairly sure I wasn't going to meet her. And I didn't know how Abby was going to be. I don't think it had crossed my mind that Abby might not have survived, but I think it's always in your head. When stuff like that's happening, it's always a possibility. And yeah, like, it was nearly a very different day. Yeah.
I don't know how you're supposed to say thank you to people for saving yours and your baby's life, but it is a happy ending. Yeah, as you can see, she's absolutely fine over there, playing with that expensive lighting.
Women give birth in the same way that they have done for years and years, and they still ultimately need the same things when they're giving birth. So they need compassionate, kind care, they need access to pain medication if they want it, they need a midwife supporting them. So lots of the things are the same, but obviously we've come forward a lot in terms of being able to support women giving birth at home, like in Call The Midwife, being able to support them via the ambulance service if there was to be an emergency.
Abby is now in training, not just to be ordained, but to run the London Marathon for the ambulance charity. A small thank you, she says, for a big gift. If modern methods are helping save more babies like Lydia, some of the issues facing midwives are much the same as those from the TV series set 50 years ago.
I am now able to announce the following. A 2-year, 2-part settlement comprising a 20% pay rise from the 1st of April 1970, with an additional 2% from the 1st of April 1971. A total wage increase of 22%.
What they wouldn't give for that these days, because here, as across the country, they're facing midwife shortages. Pay a big issue, but also the demanding hours.
Knows what he wants.
Holly Eastlake has been a midwife in East London for 13 years and now heads up the midwife-led teams here, a job that's got more challenging.
We've gone from what felt like having a lot of midwifery staff, a lot of people interested in becoming midwives, to now it not being such a desirable profession, and we're noticing that our numbers for students and then also retaining staff are really, really decreasing as well, which is really changing the landscape of midwifery.
This part of London is an area of contrasts. Tower Hamlets has some of the poorest areas of the country, nestled in the shadows of some of the richest. That's seen huge population changes over the years, watched over the past 2 decades by community midwife Mosen.
They're going from one side to the other, navigating your way. You know, like you're thinking which is the shortest cut. No, I think I'm a good driver now. The older you get, the better driver you are.
Age 61, she's thinking of retiring next year, but there are still plenty of families to visit.
So basically, he's a newborn. This is the first visit, first home visit. Yeah, so they've just been discharged from the hospital, I think yesterday. So the protocol is they needed to be seen within 24 hours.
Mosen's come to see baby Noah and his parents, Elandi and Marius.
No, the team was actually really good. They were so fast. Before you know it, 1, 2, 3, and the baby was out.
Okay, belly button is clean. Yeah. One more safer. He's been sleepy, yeah, and the jaundice makes them sleepy like that, yeah. So the treatment now is the milk, is the breast milk. The more you feed him, the more the jaundice clears off, yeah?
Oh, okay. It actually is so helpful. I don't think we've had that where we come from, where someone actually follows up personally, come to your home and actually see what you're physically doing and giving you guidance. So we were very excited because, like, what do we know?
Yeah, because it's weird. You come home, don't you, and there isn't really a guidebook. And it's quite reassuring having someone come through the door.
Yeah, it is actually. Yeah, you don't study for parenting. So it's actually nice to have someone that has experience to come in and show us and actually look at what we're doing in our environment and then actually, like what she did just now.
It marks the end of the day for Mosen as she drives back to base, and almost the end of her career as a midwife in the East End.
Thinking about that every day now that I'm over 60, I'm just thinking, will I be able to really walk away from it? But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. It's a thing of joy for me. And actually attending to the women, it's just like, that's my life. That's all I live for, just coming to see my women and supporting them throughout pregnancy. And if I'm lucky to be part of the labor, to deliver the baby, give me greatest joy.
As Mosen contemplates her future in the East End, she knows her profession is also facing challenges in its future here. An area where the number of babies being born is rising, but not necessarily the number of people to deliver them.